Right, next part is working on the jaws. It came with two of these aluminum ones. They're really battered. And I want to make some copper ones. It's been having copper jaws has been a bucket item. And I already did my two smaller vises. And I already got some copper to size, but I think it's a bit too short. It's a problem. But that's the next step. Also, the locking mechanism jammed when I was inserting the pin. Here are the parts. It's a set screw, which I flattened and made a screwdriver slot into, and I use it wrong way around. It holds the spring, and this aluminum part I made, but the end is flared a bit, and now it's stuck on the threads of this hole. So maybe I've got to file this down or put a ball bearing in, which was the original plan, I think. But not sure why I didn't do that. But that's something to look into. I fixed the locking mechanism, just fell down the slug a bit. There's not much material here, so a larger set screw would have larger threads and would have created some problems, I think. And also a bigger bearing ball wouldn't have fitted in here. Here are the jaw pieces I prepared, but unfortunately they're just a bit shy of 10 centimeters. And this stuff is quite expensive, so I will try to solder on a extra piece and hope it won't come off. I sanded down these pieces of copper and these sides, and I put in some center punch marks to make sure there's a tiny gap so the solder can flow through the gap and make it a nice joint. So I put together this clamping piece. It's made from aluminum 2020 profile. I've added some stainless steel mesh. Had it lying around, it's easy to cut. I hope it will prevent a bit of heat transferring to the aluminum parts. And I have a machinist jack kind of setup, and I hope this will help me solder parts together. Put some liquid flux in here, and I don't have much gas left in this tank, I think, maybe half a tank, so I'm gonna preheat it with a heat gun. It's 2 kilowatts. And this block is going to sink a lot of heat. It's getting pretty hot. And looks like the tin is melting already. the heat to draw in the tin in between the gap. And it should be quite hot. I think this one is done. This time I'm trying to use paste, just to see how it works. Second one, the corner is already quite hot. Want to check if I can draw the tin in all the way across. That's it. Removing the excess material while the other one is cooling down. So this kind of looks like an angry chimp if you're working on it a lot. Yeah, I was totally going for the vise jaws with replaceable end tips. So these holes are 8mm, but there's M6 threads in here, which is a bit odd. But I turned down just a piece of screw. I didn't have long enough set screws for these holes. And this is a bit fumbly. So the two set screws are in the front jaw. Now I just align both jaws at the same time, because the vise can't close with only one jaw. It seizes. Just line this by eye. and squeeze. I did mark the jaws. Actually I marked them like this, but then I noticed this side has to go down here. So these are the holes. I will punch them with a center punch. Then I will drill them out and countersink the other side for a screw. And then I will mark out the second jaw. But my battery is almost empty. Marked the first holes and drilled them, and then countersunk the screws. I needed to round this edge of the removable jaw to fit this edge nicely. I'm gonna drill the jaw. Not using this 5mm drill. These cutting edges are a bit jagged. And this one is the one I used for the other jaw. If it's gonna focus. This is a milling drill, they called it, in the DIY store. It's supposed to be able to cut to the side on very soft materials. Only this part is longer than the thickness of the material, so this won't have any cutting effects. But maybe it's a bit stiffer than a regular drill because of the center diameter. I used this already and it worked quite well. Drilling copper is a bit harder, I think, more difficult. I use a high RPM. It's at the third setting of my machine, which is 1130. I'm not gonna center drill this piece. On the smaller vise jaws I did, I lost 2 tips of my center drill. So it kind of makes it even harder to do a nice job. Producing very small chips, which is a good thing. Copper can be very stringy and tend to bind to the drill bit. And it will probably grab when I want to, when I'm going to punch through the hole. Oh. Guess not. The humming noise is coming from the relay in my on-off switch. I have to look into it. I can stop it by just opening the cover, which cuts the power, but it's not a good thing. I have to find a replacement switch, but I'm not sure if I can find a drop-in part, drop-in replacement. It's moving. This drill chuck is a bit too big for my drilling machine. This one goes up to 16 millimeters. And I have another one, no, put it in view. I have another one, but I need an arbor for it, and it just arrived, so maybe I can use it soon. Now I almost made the mistake of starting at countersink, but I'm marked on the fixed side, so I need to countersink the bottom of the hole I did. I'll do the same for the second hole. I noticed the drilling table was out of alignment, so I'm now checking if I can use these blocks to get an accurate alignment in this direction. I already lowered it down to it and re-secured the bolt. And for checking the alignment I have this simple device. It's not hitting it at the moment. This is a bit of a low spot. Small hammer. Not sure how flat this drilling table is. So it doesn't really work. The solution I was hoping to use was fairly accurate, but not perfect. machine isn't fixed to the workbench. I'm just looking for the distance to the side. It's not even a millimeter off, but this looks okay. Might be better to just support the front center. This was making quite a bit of noise when I did the other jaw, and the countersink tended to slip a bit. I'm gonna try it about 700 RPM. This might make some noise. I'm gonna use some WD-40 on it. Wow, this really drills well with the support until it stalls. There's no build up on the cutting edges. It's engaged almost completely. This is just too small. But it's going down in at a complete diameter. I'm gonna try a lower RPM. Bit of constant pressure. Yeah, I think this is deep enough for now. I'm not gonna use a fixed depth yet. Will be the next step. Let's see how it does without the WD-40. And low RPM. I think this is okay. Now I can fix the jaws to the vise. Only when I file off this edge, just like on the other jaw. Now I can remove the pins, and with the other jaw, best way was with a file. Just until it grabs. And if it doesn't grab, it makes a flat spot on the screw. And you can use it maybe with a pair of pliers, if you make one on the other side too. Here are the parts for my old vise. While I was extracting the pin from the spindle for the new vise, so this pin, but in here, I really had to put some force on it, and this broke, so I may have to repair this. I think I'm gonna try brazing it. I don't have really much experience with stick welding, and especially not with cast iron. So I think I'll try brazing it. Not sure if it will hold or do a good job, but maybe I can make it a bit more usable than it is now. It still fits, but there might be a bit of wobble. Also, this is already a replacement part. This spindle is from a car jack, from a Japanese car. Don't know which brand it was exactly, but the old spindle, I put a pipe on the end of the handle, and the nut busted, so I had to replace it. But, I did it with the help of my brother. And, this is quite a good spindle, I think. It looks okay, can handle a lot. It's used in a car jack, so it's sturdy. Only problem is this spring is a bit too tight. There's too much tension on it. So I either have to move this hole for a new pin, or cut this spring up. Right, I think I'll call this one finished. Turned out to be blue instead of black, which I thought it was. There's only one minor thing with it. There's no anvil here. And I'm not sure if it's a wise idea to weld or solder something on here. Maybe the casting is not up to it. It looks like both halves of the casting were not quite aligned when this was made, but I have this one, which does have an anvil, and I kind of tried to repair the underside. Doesn't look pretty. It's I welded it in very tiny lengths with nickel electrodes, stick welding, and maybe it's just for show. I hope it stays on there. I hope it can take a bit of force, but I'm not counting on it. So I may need a sort of an anvil, and I do have a project. I'm not going to start on it right away, but it's something for my bucket. And it's an idea I got from Tom Lipton. It's a piece of railroad track, which I asked the repair guys for when they were working on the local subway. And I got a piece, not sure, it's almost 50 centimeters. And I can make an anvil out of this, maybe two, or perhaps 3 small ones, but I think I'll make a large one. And it's a bucket item, but I think I'll have to put a placeholder in my bucket. And I think that's it for this video, so thanks for watching and hope to see you soon.